Now, you know how President Obama said, well, so I'm the guy who gets you out of wars, man. I got you out of Iraq. I'm going to get you out of Afghanistan. Well, it turns out he had a nice serving of stovetop, and he's staying. We're going to stay in Afghanistan, it turns out, until 2024. 24. Now they say, well, no. I mean, it's technically, it's kind of a withdrawal because we're going to take most of our troops out. So let me give you the new deal that was just announced. We're going to stay for at least 10 more years. We're going to have 8,000 to 12,000 troops. In Washington speak, that's a withdrawal. Like those troops don't actually exist. But they do, and they will be in Afghanistan, and there'll be special forces there as well. And we'll be spending $4 billion a year in international, quote-unquote, security assistance to the Afghans. In other words, that's largely a bribe to the government of Afghanistan, who right now is, of course, led by Hamid Karzai. And Karzai huffed and he puffed and he said, well, there are things I'm not going to give the Americans. I'm going to do tough negotiations here. One of the things that the Afghans are irate over is the nighttime raids into their homes. And it's true. We shouldn't do that. It alienates the population. It turns them against us. It's counterproductive. And the Afghans are definitely irate over it. If they had a real democracy that wasn't riddled with fraud, they would actually kick people like Karzai out and have real representatives represent them. Now, that's not been the case so far in Afghanistan. Anyway, how'd that turn out? Well, let me read you a clause and then tell you what it actually means. It has been changed, the clause in there, from one that's absolute to this. American military operations will be carried out with full respect for Afghan sovereignty and full regard for the safety and security of the Afghan people, including in their homes. So that's it. They're not going to go into the homes, right? Wrong. Diplomatic speak, unfortunately, a lot of times is the exact opposite of what it sounds like. Here, they turned a clause that said American soldiers cannot go into Afghan homes into American forces will try not to go into Afghan homes, but will if they want to. In other words, they can go in whenever they like. That's a big, big difference. And now, the Americans are not supposed to lead any combat troops in this case. They're supposed to be in their headquarters and they're supposed to provide support. And that is in the document. They say that the U.S. troops and NATO troops will, quote, complement and support Afghan missions. That's also a little vague, but good enough on that front. But it does mean that the U.S. troops, if they're accompanied by Afghan troops, can definitely go into their homes, right? So that clause saying they can't go into their homes, gone. Karzai lost on that. Now, this is not the final decision on this because they actually have to take it to a lawyer jirga, which is how the Afghans decide. That's when the elders come in and they'll do that in a couple of days and they will vote up or down on this agreement. So it's not totally over yet. Ironically, the Afghans might save us from the debacle in Afghanistan. To stay there for another 11 years is insanity. It's the opposite of what President Obama promised. And by the way, he did the same exact thing in Iraq. Now he brags and brags about how he got us out of Iraq. First of all, let's be real about this. The facts are that George W. Bush signed the pact for us to leave Iraq. And when that pact was coming to a close, President Obama tried to do this same exact deal in Iraq. He said, let me keep 10,000 or more troops in there for another decade. And you know what happened? The Iraqis said no. In that case, it was the immunity issue, as that was an issue here as well. Well, where we said, look, if we're going to have U.S. troops in Iraq, they need to have immunity from Iraqi law. If they kill people, if they harm people, you don't get to decide what happens to them. We decide. And the Iraqis said, we're tired of that and we don't accept. That's why we left Iraq, not because Obama wanted to leave Iraq. Obama wanted to stay in Iraq. You don't believe me? Look it up. Democrats always get so hurt when you mention facts like that. But it's absolutely true. And look, he got his way in Afghanistan, and what happened? We're staying another 11 years. And yes, we got immunity for our troops. Interesting, we didn't get immunity for the contractors. That's good news, right? But for our troops, we do have immunity, which we do need if we're going to stay. Now, but nonetheless, Obama officials say, who are you going to believe? Us or your lying eyes? Quote, while we are open to keeping a residual force in Afghanistan to carry out the narrow missions of counterterrorism and training, there's no scenario in which those forces would stay in Afghanistan until anywhere near 2024. Except that is not the agreement you just agreed to. You agreed to go to 2024, And by the way, even if that is your intention, you're not going to be in office then. The senior administration officials will pack their bags in 2016 and get out of town. If a Republican wins or yet another conservative hawk Democrat wins, well, what are they going to do? They don't give a damn what Obama thought he was going to do in 2024. They'll stay if they want, because that's what their agreement says. And then, on the issue of defending Afghanistan, I love this double talk in diplomatic speak. Now, the Afghans said, hey, listen, man, if you're going to stay, if there are outside threats to Afghanistan, then you got to defend us, okay? So here's the agreement on it. See if you can discern what they actually mean. The United States shall regard with grave concern any external aggression or threat of external aggression against the sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of Afghanistan. In other words, you're on your own, buddy. Now, it sounds like, wait a minute, they just said they were going to do something. No, they didn't. They said they would be gravely concerned about it. Oh, shit, look at that, man. You got your ass kicked there, didn't you? Man, I have some grave concern about that. Anyway, good luck to you, brother. Now, here's another part of that clause on whether they'll defend Afghanistan. Because we're not there for Afghanistan. We're there for our interests, okay? So, of course, we're not going to defend Afghanistan. Only if it hurts our interests will we do so. But if Afghanistan is attacked by an external threat, they also say in the agreement that we will, quote, consult urgently with them. Wow, a grave concern and urgent consultation. Well, that'll show the external forces not to mess with Afghanistan. And finally, Senator Kerry went out of his way to say over and over again that apologizing to Afghanistan for the many mistakes that were done during the war by the United States was never considered and was not on the table. In other words, it was totally on the table, and we won on that issue. It was not put into the final agreement, but there's no need to talk about it if it wasn't something they were already debating. But no, there will be no apology. We're the United States of America. We don't apologize for anything. Even if we invade your country and then decide to stay there for over 20 years.